That was interesting, wasn't it? The President of the United States taking questions on Air Force One from reporters, including NewsNation's Libby Dean. Good job out of Libby. She got a number of questions into the president there, being fed back audio only to us as we listen in here from New York. I'm Connell McShane. Hannah Brandt covering the White House for us tonight, waiting for the president back in Washington, and joins us now from the North Lawn. I mean, there's a lot that stood out there to me from the president in those comments. Libby even made some news on subjects you might not expect tonight, whether it would be Ukraine and the president making some comments on Elon Musk. But again, what he said there at the end, because we keep wondering, hey, what's next after what happened with Maduro in Venezuela, about Cuba stood out. Cuba looks like it's going to fall, the president said, without any action from the United States. What else stood out to you?
Yeah, Connell, some really mixed messages there, but also some significant insight from the president about this operation in Venezuela. The bulk of the conversation focused on Venezuela, on the U.S. operation that took place there and the capture of its leader, Nicolas Maduro. You heard that question from our very own Libby Dean there, very significant moment in that conversation when she asked, was this about oil or was this about regime change? The president telling her, no, this was about peace on earth, which contrasts with some of the concerns we've been hearing from lawmakers and others that this will actually escalate into a larger conflict. Obviously, it took military action to get there. Now, he also spoke about his motivation for going in and doing this, accusing Maduro of sending drugs to the United States, saying that was a major motivation, also saying he sent people from their prisons, from their gangs, people he described as drug addicts, into the United States. And he says that's ultimately is why he made the decision to go into Venezuela and capture Maduro as well. One of the big questions that the president didn't really clear up tonight was what comes next for Venezuela. We've heard the president say a number of times the U.S. will run the country. He doubled down on that idea in this conversation tonight. But we really don't know what that means about the day-to-day governing of the country. We do know Venezuela's former Vice President Delcy Rodriguez was just sworn in as the interim president of the country, and it's really unclear if she's willing to cooperate with the United States. Now, as part of that gaggle moments ago aboard Air Force One, our Libby Dean did press President Trump about the relationship that he has with Rodriguez and who exactly is in charge in Venezuela now. I want to give you a listen to what he said to that question.
Have you spoken to the newly sworn-in president there, Rodriguez, and what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said the U.S. would run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
President also warning if Rodriguez does not cooperate with the U.S., there will be consequences. Connell?
All right, Hannah, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.